Welcome to the world of science function. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss new stories. Enjoy the listening. The galaxy hung in uneasy silence, as if holding its breath in anticipation of the inevitable. Beyond the shimmering expanse of countless stars, the ominous silhouettes of alien ships loomed like dark omens. The Garvok fleet, ancient and remorseless, hovered on the edges of humanity's solar system, their technology and intent an enigma. Their arrival sent shockwaves of terror across Earth and its scattered colonies. Yet, amidst the chaos, hope flickered faintly, a stubborn refusal to surrender to annihilation. This tenuous hope found its unlikely beacon in Lily Marrow, a retired salvage operator who had sworn she'd left the dangerous life behind. Lily's life, much like her rundown bar in New Amsterdam's spaceport, was held together with duct tape and sheer willpower. Stellar Sen catered to a motley crew of misfits, refugees fleeing the Garvok, mercenaries seeking quick credits, and dreamers chasing the elusive promise of interstellar freedom. The bar reeked of engine grease and regret, yet its patrons found solace in the shared anonymity of their struggles. For Lily, it was a sanctuary of sorts, a quiet retreat from her past adventures. But that evening, as a holographic newsfeed flickered on the cracked screen behind the bar, the mood grew heavier. Images of devastated cities, desperate evacuations, and the unrelenting advance of the Garvok painted a grim picture. The newscaster's voice trembled as they relayed the latest updates, their attempts at optimism falling flat. Jonas, the grizzled bartender and former Alliance pilot, muttered darkly under his breath. "Doesn't matter how many fleets they send. No one's ever beaten the Garvok." Lily swirled her drink, her sharp eyes fixed on the screen. "No one's ever tried hard enough. They're machines, Jonas. Machines have weaknesses." "Weaknesses?" Jonas scoffed. "You've got to be kidding me. The Alliance threw everything at them last time, and it barely slowed them down." Before Lily could respond, the bar's creaky door swung open with a loud groan. Heads turned as a towering figure stepped inside, their presence commanding immediate attention. The newcomer's armor, a patchwork of scavenged plates, gleamed under the dim lights. A cybernetic eye glowed faintly on their scarred face, scanning the room with cold efficiency. The bar fell silent as the figure approached the counter. "Lily Marrow," the newcomer rumbled, their voice like grinding gears. Lily didn't flinch. "Depends who's asking." "Karen Drax," the figure replied, tossing a small holographic device onto the counter. "I need your help." The device flickered to life, projecting a series of schematics into the air. The room leaned in collectively, curiosity overcoming caution. The designs were intricate, otherworldly, and unmistakably Garvok in origin. "Where did you get this?" Lily asked, her tone sharp. Drax's smirk was fleeting. "Let's just say I've got connections. What matters is what we can do with it. This could be our only chance to fight back." "Fight back?" Jonas interjected, incredulous. "You're talking suicide." "Not if we're smart about it," Drax countered. "The Garvok may seem invincible, but their tech has vulnerabilities. I've seen it. We just need the right people to exploit them." Lily leaned back, studying Drax. "And you think I'm one of those people?" "I know you are," Drax said. "You've got a reputation, Marrow. You're resourceful, a survivor. And I've already got a team forming." As if on cue, the door creaked open again, revealing a lanky teenager in a worn flight jacket. He approached hesitantly, his wide eyes darting between the bar's patrons. "Milo," he introduced himself nervously. "I'm, good with machines. Fixer, tinkerer, whatever you need." "Kid looks like he'd blow himself up trying to light a match," Jonas grumbled. "Looks can be deceiving," Milo shot back, surprising everyone with his defiance. "I've been studying alien tech since I was 12. I've even reverse-engineered some. Give me a chance, and I'll prove I'm worth it." Lily's gaze lingered on Milo, weighing his words. Before she could decide, another figure emerged from the bar's shadows. This one was a woman with piercing green eyes and an air of quiet confidence. She wore a simple jumpsuit, but her presence was anything but ordinary. "Name's Sarah," she said. "Exobiologist and linguist. If you're dealing with alien tech, you'll need someone who can decipher their language and behavior." "You've got quite the crew," Lily remarked dryly. Drax wasn't done. He gestured toward the doorway, where a diminutive creature stood hesitantly. Barely reaching Lily's waist, the alien's fur was a mottled gray, and its luminous eyes darted nervously around the room. The crowd recoiled slightly, unsure whether it was friend or foe. "This is Quibble," Drax explained. "He's a Garvok defector. Knows more about their tech than any human ever will." Quibble chirped in a series of clicks and whistles. Sarah translated, "He says he's here to save your species from its own stupidity." The room erupted in a mix of laughter and indignation. Lily, however, was intrigued. She studied Quibble closely, noting the intelligence in his gaze. "All right," she said finally. "Looks like you've got my attention. But if I'm doing this, we're doing it my way." Drax nodded. "Fair enough. First step is finding a base of operations. Something off the grid." Lily's mind raced, already assembling a mental checklist. "I know a place. But it won't be easy getting there. We'll need to slip past Garvok patrols." Jonas leaned in, a rare glint of determination in his eyes. "I might be able to help with that. Still got a few tricks up my sleeve from my piloting days." The group exchanged glances, the weight of their decision settling over them. They were a motley crew, bound by desperation and a shared defiance. The odds were against them, but so was the alternative, extinction. As they boarded Drax's battered ship, the Iron Resolve, a faint transmission crackled through the comms. It was a message from Earth's resistance, barely audible but filled with determination. "To anyone out there listening, humanity will not go quietly. We will fight, and we will prevail." Lily's lips curled into a determined smile. "Damn right we will," she muttered. The stars stretched before them, an endless sea of possibilities. Little did they know, their journey would test the limits of their courage, ingenuity, and unity. And in the fight against the Garvok, humanity's greatest strength lay not in its technology, but in its unyielding spirit. The Iron Resolve hurtled through the void of space, its engines groaning under the strain of evading Garvok patrols. Inside the ship, the newfound crew settled uneasily into their roles. Lily Marrow stood at the helm, her sharp eyes darting between the navigation console and the external monitors. The rest of the team lingered in the cramped main cabin, each grappling with the reality of their situation in their own way. "So," Milo began hesitantly, fiddling with a piece of alien tech he'd found in the cargo hold, "what exactly is the plan once we get to this secret base of yours?" Lily didn't look up. "First, we set up a perimeter. Then we figure out how to use that schematic Drax brought us." Drax, leaning against the bulkhead with his arms crossed, smirked. "You mean the one that could get us all killed if we mess up?" "Exactly," Lily replied dryly. "But if we don't try, the Garvok will finish the job anyway." Quibble chirped from a corner, his tone impatient. Sarah, seated beside him with a datapad, translated. "He says the ship's cloaking mechanism is garbage, and if we don't fix it soon, we'll be spotted." Milo perked up. "I can work on that." He grabbed his toolkit and scrambled toward the engine room, his excitement palpable. Jonas glanced at Lily, his grizzled face set in a grim expression. "Kid's eager, but he's green. Let's hope he doesn't fry us." "He'll manage," Lily said, though her voice lacked certainty. The stakes were too high to entertain doubt, but doubt crept in nonetheless. The tension aboard the Iron Resolve grew as they approached the asteroid field Lily had chosen as their refuge. The dense cluster of rocks offered natural cover, but navigating through them was perilous. Drax took over the piloting, his cybernetic eyes scanning for safe pathways while the ship's hull groaned with every evasive maneuver. "This place better be worth it," he muttered. Lily ignored him, focused instead on the console. She tapped into the ship's outdated systems, scanning for any signs of Garvok presence. When the readings came back clear, she allowed herself a small sigh of relief. "We're here," she announced as the ship came to a shaky halt inside a cavernous asteroid. The natural enclosure provided ample concealment, its jagged walls glinting with traces of rare minerals. "Let's unload and secure the area." The crew moved quickly, unloading supplies and setting up rudimentary defenses. Quibble chirped instructions, which Sarah translated while Milo busied himself repairing the ship's failing systems. Jonas kept watch near the entrance, his old pilot instincts kicking in as he scanned the dark expanse of space beyond their hideout. Hours passed in tense silence, broken only by the hum of equipment and the occasional muttered curse. Finally, the perimeter was secure, and the crew gathered around a makeshift table in the center of the cavern. Drax activated the holographic schematics again, the alien blueprints casting an eerie glow over their tired faces. "All right," Drax began, "here's what we're dealing with. This isn't just any Garvok tech. It's a power source. If we can harness it, we might have a chance to fight back." Milo's eyes widened. "You're talking about reverse engineering Garvok tech? That's incredible. But it's also insanely dangerous." "Exactly why we need to be careful," Sarah interjected. "One wrong move, and we could trigger a reaction that'd wipe us out before the Garvok even find us." Quibble chirped a series of rapid clicks, gesturing toward the schematics. Sarah translated, "He says the design has redundancies we can exploit, but only if we follow the sequence precisely." Lily's gaze swept over the group. "Then we work together. No heroics, no improvisation. We stick to the plan." "What's the first step?" Jonas asked. Drax pointed to a section of the schematics. "We need to construct an interface that can handle the energy output." "Milo, that's your department. Quibble and Sarah, you'll assist with translation and calibration. Jonas, you're on perimeter watch. Lily and I will handle assembly." The group dispersed, each diving into their tasks with varying degrees of focus and determination. For Milo, the challenge was exhilarating. He worked tirelessly, his fingers deftly assembling components while Quibble chirped instructions. Sarah provided translations and occasional corrections, her calm demeanor a steadying influence. Meanwhile, Lily and Drax wrestled with the larger components, their differing styles creating friction. "You're too cautious," Drax grumbled as Lily double-checked a connection. "And you're too reckless," she shot back. "If we're going to survive this, we can't afford mistakes." Hours turned into days as the crew labored in shifts, their progress slow but steady. The asteroid's isolation provided a measure of safety, but it also amplified the strain of their task. Tempers flared, and arguments broke out over seemingly minor issues. Yet, despite the tension, they pushed forward, driven by the knowledge that failure was not an option. One evening, as Milo fine-tuned the interface, the system sparked violently, sending him stumbling backward. Quibble let out a panicked series of chirps, and Sarah rushed to assess the damage. "What happened?" Lily demanded, rushing over. I don't know," Milo stammered, his hands shaking. "I thought I had it right." Sarah examined the components, her brow furrowing. "It's not your fault. The materials we're using aren't compatible. We need to improvise." "Improvise?" Drax growled. "That's how things blow up." "It's also how we survive," Lily countered. She turned to Milo. "You can do this. We'll find the parts you need." Jonas, who had been listening from the entrance, chimed in. "There's an old mining outpost a few clicks from here. If it's still intact, it might have what you need." Lily nodded. "Then that's our next move. Drax, you and I will scout the outpost. The rest of you, keep working. We'll be back as soon as we can." As the crew prepared for the mission, the weight of their situation settled over them once more. They were racing against time, balancing on the knife's edge of hope and despair. And though the odds were stacked against them, they pressed on, united by a shared determination to defy the inevitable. The mining outpost was a derelict husk, floating lifelessly in the shadow of a massive asteroid. Its metal walls bore the scars of time and abandonment, patches of rust competing with charred streaks from long-forgotten battles. As Lily and Drax docked the Iron Resolve shuttle with the outpost, the eerie silence of the void pressed down on them. The only sounds were the soft hum of the shuttle's systems and their own steady breathing. "We'll be in and out," Lily said, double-checking her blaster before stepping onto the platform. "Grab what we need and get back before anyone notices." Drax smirked, his cybernetic eyes scanning the structure. "Let's hope it's as simple as you make it sound." The pair moved cautiously through the outpost's dimly lit corridors, their flashlights cutting through the oppressive darkness. Every creak and groan of the metal structure set them on edge. They passed long-abandoned living quarters, overturned furniture, and shattered control panels, each hinting at a story of desperation and loss. "Place gives me the creeps," Drax muttered, his voice barely above a whisper. Lily didn't respond, her focus on the scanner in her hand. It beeped faintly, leading them toward a storage bay at the heart of the outpost. When they arrived, the room was cluttered with crates and equipment, much of it covered in thick layers of dust. Lily's eyes lit up as she spotted a stack of power conduits that matched Milo's specifications. "Jackpot," she said, pulling a crate toward her. "Let's load up and get out of here." As they worked, the faint hum of the outpost's systems grew louder, a subtle vibration that set Lily on edge. She froze, her instincts screaming that something was wrong. "Drax," she hissed. "Do you hear that?" Before he could respond, the room was flooded with harsh red light. An automated voice crackled through the intercom, speaking in a guttural alien language. Drax's cybernetic eye flashed as he accessed his translator. "Intruders detected. Activating defense protocols," he relayed grimly. The walls of the storage bay hissed as hidden panels slid open, revealing sleek, insect-like drones. Their metallic bodies glinted in the crimson light, and their appendages crackled with electric energy. "Move!" Lily shouted, diving behind a crate as the drones opened fire. The room erupted in chaos, bolts of energy scorching the air. Drax returned fire with precision, his blaster reducing 2 drones to smoldering scrap. "There's too many of them," he yelled. Lily gritted her teeth, her mind racing. She spotted a control panel on the far side of the room and gestured toward it. "Cover me." Drax nodded, unleashing a barrage of suppressing fire as Lily sprinted across the room. She slid behind the panel, her fingers flying over the controls. The system was ancient and uncooperative, but she coaxed it to life, overriding the security protocols. With a final keystroke, the drones powered down, their bodies collapsing lifelessly to the floor. Lily slumped against the panel, her chest heaving. "Let's grab what we can and go. This place isn't going to stay quiet for long." They loaded the shuttle with as much as it could carry and launched back toward the Iron Resolve. As they docked and transferred the supplies, the rest of the crew gathered in the cavernous hideout, their faces a mixture of relief and concern. "You're late," Jonas grumbled. "What happened?" "Security drones," Lily replied tersely. "But we got what we needed." Milo examined the conduits eagerly. "These are perfect. I'll get started right away." "Good," Lily said. "Because we don't have much time." As the crew resumed their work, the tension in the hideout grew palpable. Quibble chirped nervously, his wide eyes darting toward the entrance as if expecting the Garvok to appear at any moment. Sarah worked alongside Milo, her calm demeanor a stabilizing presence, while Jonas maintained his vigil. Days later, the power interface was complete, its sleek design a testament to the crew's combined ingenuity. They gathered around it, their exhaustion overshadowed by a sense of accomplishment. "Now comes the hard part," Drax said, his tone grim. "Testing it." Lily nodded, her gaze fixed on the device. "If this works, we might actually stand a chance. If it doesn't..." Her words hung in the air, unspoken but understood. The crew exchanged uneasy glances before Lily took a deep breath and activated the interface. The room filled with a low hum as the device powered up, its core glowing with an otherworldly light. "Energy levels are stable," Milo reported, his voice tinged with excitement. "It's working." The crew's relief was short-lived as the hideout sensors blared an alarm. Jonas cursed, his hand flying to his sidearm. "We've got company." On the monitors, a Garvok patrol ship loomed, its sleek design unmistakable. Lily's stomach twisted as she realized their hideout was no longer secret. "Everyone, get to your stations," she ordered. "We're not going down without a fight." The crew scrambled into action, their fear giving way to determination. Quibble chirped urgently, and Sarah translated. "He says the power interface can be used as a weapon. But it'll overload if we push it too far." "Then we'll have to make it count," Lily said. "Milo, get it ready. Jonas, Drax, prepare for combat. Sarah, Quibble, stay on the systems." The hideout shook as the Garvok ship fired its opening salvo, the cavern's walls trembling under the assault. Lily and Drax returned fire from makeshift turrets, their shots finding purchase on the enemy ship's shields but failing to penetrate. "We need more power," Lily shouted over the din. "I'm working on it." Milo yelled back, sweat dripping from his brow as he adjusted the interface. Quibble chirped frantically, pointing to a set of auxiliary controls. Sarah translated quickly. "He says rerouting the energy will give us one focused blast. But it's a one-shot deal." "Do it," Lily ordered. Milo's hands flew over the controls, the device's hum rising to a deafening pitch. The core glowed brighter, its energy building to critical levels. "It's ready!" Milo shouted. Lily lined up the shot, her hands steady despite the chaos around her. She fired, the device unleashing a blinding beam of energy that tore through the Garvok ship's shields and struck its core. The ship erupted in a brilliant explosion, fragments scattering into the void. Cheers erupted from the crew, their victory hard-earned and bittersweet. Lily allowed herself a brief moment of relief before turning to the others. "This was just the beginning," she said. "The Garvok will send more. We need to be ready." The crew nodded, their resolve solidified. They had survived their first confrontation, but the war was far from over. Together, they would face whatever came next, united by the spark of hope they had ignited. The aftermath of the battle left the crew of the Iron Resolve in a state of weary triumph. The hideout's cavernous walls still echoed faintly with the vibrations of the Garvok patrol ship's destruction, and the air carried a metallic tang from the energy discharge. But there was no time to celebrate. The knowledge that more Garvok forces would inevitably follow hung over them like a storm cloud. Lily paced the makeshift command center, her mind racing. The power interface had worked beyond their expectations, but the effort had drained their resources to critical levels. The crew gathered around her, their faces a mix of determination and exhaustion. Milo clutched a datapad, his eyes bright despite the dark circles under them. Drax leaned against a bulkhead, his usual cocky demeanor tempered by the gravity of their situation. Sarah and Quibble stood side by side, a quiet understanding passing between them as they reviewed the remaining alien schematics. "We bought ourselves some time," Lily began, her voice steady. "But not much. The Garvok will be back, and they won't make the same mistake twice." Jonas folded his arms, his expression grim. "So what's the plan, Mero?" "We can't hold out forever." "We don't have to," she replied. "We just need to hit them where it hurts." Milo perked up, his fingers tapping nervously against his datapad. "The schematics we found, there's something big here. The Garvok's power systems are all linked through a central nexus. If we can find it and disable it, we'd shut down their entire operation in this sector." Quibble chirped excitedly, gesturing toward the holographic display. Sarah translated, "He says the nexus is heavily guarded, but there are vulnerabilities. It's not impossible." Drax raised an eyebrow. "Not impossible doesn't exactly inspire confidence." Lily met his gaze, her expression resolute. "It's better than waiting for them to find us. We've got the tech, the skills, and the element of surprise. This is our shot." The crew exchanged glances, the weight of the decision settling over them. Finally, Jonas nodded. "I've flown worse missions. Count me in." Milo grinned nervously. I mean, I'm terrified, but also, let's do this. Drax smirked. Guess I'm in too. Someone's gotta keep you all alive. Quibble chirped in agreement, and Sarah gave a small smile. Then it's settled. Let's move. The journey to the Nexus was fraught with tension. Using data extracted from the alien schematics, they plotted a course through uncharted regions of space, evading Garvok patrols and environmental hazards. Each member of the crew contributed their expertise, the camaraderie forged in the heat of adversity keeping them focused. As they approached the Nexus's coordinates, the scale of their challenge became clear. The Nexus was an enormous structure, a sprawling network of interconnected nodes glowing with eerie light. Garvok ships swarmed the area like mechanical hornets, their precision movements a testament to the race's efficiency and power. Lily studied the display, her jaw tightening. We'll never get close without drawing attention. Milo, is there a way to mask our approach? The young engineer hesitated, then nodded. I think so. If we can reroute power from the interface, we can create a cloaking field. It won't last long, but it might be enough. Do it, Lily ordered. As Milo and Quibble worked to modify the interface, the rest of the crew prepared for the assault. Jonas ran through flight simulations, his seasoned hands steady on the controls. Drax checked and rechecked their weapons, his demeanor a mix of focus and anticipation. Sarah quietly reviewed the alien schematics, her calm voice offering reassurance as she translated Quibble's rapid-fire instructions. When the cloaking field activated, the iron resolve slipped through the Garvok's defenses like a shadow. The tension on the bridge was palpable as they maneuvered closer to the Nexus, every second feeling like an eternity. Finally, they reached a docking point, the ship's hull shuddering as it latched onto the structure. This is it, Lily said, her voice low. Stay sharp. We don't know what we're walking into. The crew disembarked, their footsteps echoing in the sterile corridors of the Nexus. The atmosphere was oppressive, the air thick with the hum of alien machinery. They moved as one, their weapons at the ready, following Quibble's directions toward the core. It didn't take long for the Garvok to respond. The first wave of drones descended upon them with lethal precision, their energy weapons lighting up the corridors. The crew fought back fiercely, their teamwork honed by necessity. Drax's blaster took down drones with mechanical efficiency, while Sarah's quick thinking rerouted power to disable a security grid blocking their path. Milo and Quibble worked frantically to keep their systems operational, their combined ingenuity turning the tide in the crew's favor. As they reached the core, the sheer scale of the Nexus became apparent. The room was dominated by a massive energy conduit, its pulsating light casting eerie shadows. Quibble chirped urgently, pointing to a control terminal. He says that's the override, Sarah translated. We disable it, and the Nexus goes offline. All right, Lily said. Milo, Quibble, get to work. The rest of us will cover you. The team held their ground as Milo and Quibble worked tirelessly, their hands moving in perfect synchronization. The drones came in waves, each assault more relentless than the last. Jonas's aim was steady, his experience as a pilot translating into precision on the ground. Drax fought with a fierce determination, his cybernetic enhancements giving him an edge against the mechanical attackers. Sarah provided crucial support, her quick thinking and technical expertise keeping the team one step ahead. Finally, Milo let out a triumphant shout. It's done! The override is active. Lily didn't hesitate. Fall back. Let's move. The crew retreated as the core began to destabilize, the energy conduit's light intensifying to a blinding glow. The Iron Resolve's engines roared to life as they made their escape, the Nexus erupting in a cascade of explosions behind them. The shockwave propelled the ship forward, and for a moment, the crew was weightless as the Iron Resolve hurtled through space. When the turbulence subsided, a tense silence filled the bridge. Then, slowly, the realization of their success sank in. Milo whooped with joy, and even Drax allowed himself a rare grin. Sarah and Quibble exchanged a quiet nod, their unspoken bond stronger than ever. Jonas let out a low chuckle, shaking his head in disbelief. Lily leaned back in her chair, a small smile playing on her lips. We did it. They'll feel that one. What now? Milo asked, his voice tinged with both excitement and uncertainty. Lily's gaze turned to the stars beyond the viewport, her expression thoughtful. Now, we keep fighting. The Garvok aren't invincible, and we've proven that. But this isn't just about survival anymore. It's about showing them that humanity doesn't back down. The crew nodded, their resolve unshaken. They had faced the impossible and emerged victorious, and though the road ahead was uncertain, they knew one thing for sure: they were no longer just survivors. They were defenders, united by a shared purpose and an unyielding spirit. The fight was far from over, but they were ready for whatever came next.